Hey there, welcome to another Ramble, and yes, obviously today we have Runefest stuff, because there was a lot of stuff revealed at Runefest, both for old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3, and I kinda wanna go through it and actually just give my thoughts on it, because that's kind of the point of me doing these Rambles to begin with. And yes, I know, I'm like a week late, these reveals happened last week, where was I? Yeah, unfortunately I tend to record these things in advance, so I never record them when I upload them, at least not the voice. And unfortunately, yeah, last week I had already stuff recorded and I was like, well, I'm not gonna re-record everything, right? And besides that, I also like to give it a bit of time in order for me, because even though I don't write scripts for these videos, because they're rambles, I do actually write notes to, to sort of remind me what I need to talk about and the points that I need to touch on. So yes, I like to give myself a bit of time, especially when I cover both RuneScape 3 and Old School, where, one update's on Monday, another one update's on Wednesday, so it's not very good for me or useful for me to be able to do a ramble where I sometimes cover both. But yeah, we are here with the Runefest stuff, and first I actually want to go over the old school stuff, and then I'm gonna go over the RuneScape 3 stuff, but I'm going to be talking about both of them because I think it's very important. So for old school RuneScape stuff, first thing on the plate is Yama, a new boss that is gonna be released at the Chasm of Fire, which I mean, it's a bit of left field because I wasn't really expecting any boss to come out of there, at least not like endgame boss. But I did, have a curiosity, because like usually you expect stuff to sort of build up over time, and the Chasm of Fire has always been like, yeah, you have demons to do Slayer on, because that's how the Chasm was created, was to essentially take away monsters from the dungeon, the Slayer dungeon in the Tree Gnome Stronghold, because it was too OP, and that's why a lot of these little places were created. So to go from that to, oh yeah, by the way, in-game boss, it's a bit of a jump, but yeah, I'm mostly worried about the enraged mechanic, or basically what they call contracts. To me, I understand what they want to do, especially with the, molding themselves after Desert Treasure 2 bosses, depending on the contracts and everything. However, personally, I do think there's a bit of an issue with enraged mechanics. From what I see, and especially in RuneScape 3, enraged mechanics don't tend to be actually enrage. They mostly don't actually change a lot of the mechanics or whatnot. In RuneScape 3, actually, especially if you look at bosses like Archival and whatnot, most of the mechanic changes actually come between normal mode and hard mode, not between, bosses that actually have enrage. Like, while your enrage will inevitably introduce new mechanics, most of what enrage does is increases damage and HP. Like, that's pretty much it, right? It's the same thing that TOA does, in fact, right? So technically Old School already does have enrage on that regard, right? So I get what they were trying to do, and I get what they're trying to do, but personally I'm a bit skeptical on that side. I'm a bit afraid that they might, as long as it's only new mechanics being introduced like Archglycor, I think that's a much better thing, as I think it, it just allows you to essentially take boss fights that are harder, and obviously Archglycor, the mechanics that you can disable, technically they don't make the boss harder, they actually make it easier, because the default is the 5 mechanics enabled, but you can essentially invert that and have a normal boss fight and then take contracts to make it harder, to enable more mechanics, to make more mechanics, like, especially because, and what I think is going to happen here is echo bosses, right? I think Yama and the contracts of Yama is essentially gonna grab some of his mechanics and actually just make them different like echo bosses did, because I think echo bosses were actually very popular amongst the player base. So if anything, I think that's the mold that they're gonna be using for these Yama contracts, and I really hope it does, because again, personally, I'm not a huge fan of enraged mechanics. I think they were talking about also a streak mechanic and everything. Like, again, it's basically the enraged mechanics of RuneScape 3. Again, I really hope that they don't actually touch the enraged mechanic, and that they just sort of, come up with the harder it is, the more rewards you get, basically. Because I think that's a much better thing to do than to just have a normal enraged mechanic. Because in RuneScape 3, you have a lot, I've already talked about this, but in RuneScape 3 you have a lot of tools that allow you to essentially have enraged or do enrage, and even then, at the higher ends, it's mostly just RNG, praying that the boss doesn't completely fucking slap you through prayer, right? But in Old School, the combat is way more limited, so enrage doesn't feel as fun, which is why TOA doesn't feel as fun, right? Because, the defense of bosses increases, their attack increases and everything, and, it's just not very fun, right? So, essentially, I think that they sort of don't go the enrage route and they go more the echo bosses attacks being enhanced route. And even then, like, some echo bosses were kind of annoying to fight, like the Cerberus one, for example, kind of annoying with the fucking 9 shadows attacking you at the same time. That wasn't very fun. Alongside this, you actually do have a new mining activity that will also give you the thing that the boss also drops. Personally, I'm not that excited for it, because to me, and mining just needs an overall rework, even if it's like a soft rework, because it's just not fun to do mining. I'm gonna be honest. Like, mining is one of my least favorite skills in old school, and ironically it's one that gets the most amount of methods to actually train. But yeah, mining is just not that exciting, which is why it was actually really cool in RuneScape 3 for them to rework it, and why so many people actually love mining in that game, right? So, you know, yeah, it's cool that we have a new method for mining, but personally not that exciting. Moving on to Valor more, I'm gonna be completely honest with this one. I haven't even explored part 1 all that much. Most of my exploration in Valor for the first part has been watching videos and whatnot, so I'm not really that excited over it. I think it's gonna be a thing where maybe I will be more excited once I'm actually exploring the area properly, because right now I'm not playing a lot of old school, and when I am, I'm just sort of raving with friends or hanging around just talking with friends. So, you know, I don't log into old school to actually play the game anymore. I just, you know, use the game almost as a social thing. So yeah, personally though, what I'm really excited for is a flashing activity. Like, oh my god, finally, fletching is that skill that, yeah, it's really fast to get to 99 and everything, so people don't really consider it for updates, but it really does need updates. So yeah, I'm kind of excited for that one. Out of everything from Valor, fletching, yeah, it's the most exciting for me. Next up, we have the projects and areas, which pretty much, from what I was reading about projects and areas, and I think that this is always how I sort of pictured it, essentially it sounds like Minecraft servers, you know. Basically there's sort of these sandbox worlds that other people can connect to, that you like sort of manage, right, you admin, and you know, you can just change like respawns and stuff like that, basically, you know. Yeah, it's honestly exciting. I just hope it doesn't really become unsustainable, especially for other aspects of the game. Like, I really hope it doesn't fragment the player base and whatnot. Like, the thing about Minecraft is that it's mostly single player, right? Like, the multiplayer part of the game is you play with your friends, but it's mostly a single player game. That's kind of the point, right? So I really hope, because RuneScape is a multiplayer game, you kind of want people to actually play the main game, because that's the main, where the main development is, where the main investment is. So I really hope it doesn't fragment the community too much. I think it won't, and I think it will be a nice, you know, thing on the side for people that are maybe too tired of the, you know, main game, that they can go for a while to, you know, explore. And private servers, like RuneScape private servers, have always been a thing. So, you know, it's interesting to see Jagex capitalize on this. I definitely did not expect it, and yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm kind of excited to see where this goes. I'm always in favor of, you know, companies actually allowing players to build these sandbox worlds rather than just slapping them with, you know, DMCAs and then be like, nope, you cannot do that, you know, take it down, you know. So but yeah, obviously it remains to see, that especially the business model for them remains to see, because, you know, it will require a lot of different, like, server space and whatnot. However, I think this will actually be huge for content creation, right? Because you will be able to do so much extra stuff and so much cooler stuff, because you can just manipulate certain parts of the game. So even if, because it's not even so much about like it being easier to play the game and as a result being easier to make content, it's more on the side of, because you can manipulate certain aspects of the game, you can come up with more ideas. Because right now I think old school has always been really strong with the idea department, you know, the one check accounts and the area locks and everything, right? But to a certain degree it feels that the market is saturated, because it feels like everyone has already done everything with the game. So being able to change different aspects of the game will be really good for content creation, because you can come up with new challenges and set yourself different goals and everything, right? And different rule sets and whatnot. So I think that's actually going to be really good for content creation. Next up we have the plugin API and HD. The plugin hub, honestly, it was a long time coming. The official plugin hub, because RuneLite already has one, it has had one for a long time, right? So it's not really surprising. I'm just like, I mean, it's not surprising that they're investing into the client either. Obviously, I think that the end game for Jagex is to sort of quote-unquote outlaw every other plugin-based launcher, I guess. So they have only the official launcher. Although at this point, I don't think that Runelight is necessarily ever gonna like fade away, because technically it's already integrated into the main client. So if anything, there might be a fuse or something between the official client and Runelight or something. But yeah, basically, Jagex is more and more trying to, I guess, take away the market by offering the same things that a lot of these third-party clients do. What is interesting to me is that this plugin hub and the plugins are going to work cross-platform. So essentially, they're just going to work like on mobile, they're going to work on Steam, they're going to work on the official launcher, they're going to work pretty much everywhere, right? Like, they're just going to work, and I think that's actually really fucking exciting. I think it's probably the best thing they can do, which is also why I think they're investing so much into this, because right now, while you do have Runelight, you don't have Runelight for like mobile or whatever, right? That doesn't really exist. So yeah, I'm also really curious, because they did actually try their best to be like, hey, by the way, we want to like make it as accessible as possible to players to make plugins and whatnot. So overall I think they're doing a good job, and I really hope that we actually see something like this for RuneScape 3, right? Because I really hope that by succeeding in an official capacity, that RuneScape 3 sort of, or the people leading RuneScape 3 look at this, and that the JMods actually have the green light to actually start working on things relating to this, because I think that plugins for RuneScape 3 would be huge. And from my understanding, I'm not like sure that JMods are necessarily against it. I think it's more of a thing where the management just isn't as focused on these types of things, because third parties were never really allowed for RuneScape 3, which is a shame, because I think that game, especially more than old school, would benefit a lot from third-party plugins, because, like for example, I mean, nowadays you do have interface sharing, for example, but there's a lot of plugins and a lot of little things in the game that having plugins for it could just benefited immensely. And like for example, you still have Rune Metrics, which granted it's a useful thing, it's still paid, which is very bizarre, right? In old school, even the official client just has XP rates and drop like loggers and stuff like that, completely for free integrated into the client. I don't understand why in RuneScape 3 you still pay for it with Rune Metrics, right? So I really hope that this plugin API and the plugin app thing and whatnot does eventually make its way for RuneScape 3, because that would honestly be the best thing for the game. Now, as far as HD goes, I'm gonna be completely fucking honest. I like the old school RuneScape graphics, and I find them really unique, and I don't care for HD. Like, I never really cared for HD, and I won't start caring now, right? This also brings other, problems, such as the resource split. Is it gonna be too game intensive? Is it even gonna look like a different game if you're watching, right? Because one of the problems that RuneScape 3 has when it comes to the content that people make is everyone's UI layout looks so different, and the games themselves can look so different because of how many options you have in terms of the graphics. And this sort of leads to the confusion for the average viewer, because no two games look the same, so there's a certain like, it feels disjointed as a way, right? And that's sort of a problem, because you don't want graphics to look different. That's why, especially in RuneScape 3, sometimes you go through certain areas where like, holy shit, this is so outdated, it looks so out of place. And that's sort of the problem with RuneScape 3 content, is that oftentimes you can see different creators and you can feel like, oh wait, these game is out of place because of the graphics, because someone has a different graphic setting, right? So I really hope it doesn't become the same thing, but I guess it is a wait and see occasion, right? And I just really hope that the current graphics don't actually get neglected just in favor of making HD look better or whatever, right? Like, I really hope that the game and, them making graphics and everything, they always make graphics for, like, the non-HD version, right? That's, like, the main version of the game, because the moment that they start favoring HD version is the moment where I'm gonna, like, search for a fucking plugin that doesn't make the game HD, because personally, I don't like HD. I never liked that, because there's a plugin that is the smooth, animation plugin, that smooths animations. Looks really weird for old school personally. I never liked it too much. I never liked watching a game like that. So to me, I just really hope that I don't care about HD. I know some people do. I don't care, and I just hope they don't neglect the current graphics for HD. And to be completely honest, when I looked at the provided images, they looked really bad. Like the HD from the images from the blog post with the HD announcement feels really like bad. It feels like they're taking away the simplicity that old school RuneScape has without actually making things look better. Like weirdly, like this is the same issue that I see with Blender stuff related to old school RuneScape. It just looks super flat, it looks out of place rather than it being enhanced, right? Like the pictures shown make me feel, you know, like the game just looks more generic in a way. And it seems to also hinder visibility, especially because of the shadows and some of the NPCs looking worse than everything. It just, like, the game looks worse and it looks harder to see. So yeah, everything just looks kinda flat, looks kinda hard to see. Personally, I'm honestly not a fan whatsoever. I actually would be interested to see like the split of players that currently use the HD plugin, or HD plugins or HD clients, versus the players that don't. Because I would bet that while yes, there is a chunk of players that definitely wants HD, the vast majority of people still play on non-HD related graphics. So again, I really hope that, you know, as much as I acknowledge that HD is important for players, for some players, I really hope that doesn't take away from, you know, the current normal graphics of old school RuneScape, because they're iconic, they're simple to understand, the visibility is great, right? It's unique nowadays because no other game sort of does what old school RuneScape or how old school RuneScape looks. So, and then you also have the problem, because I actually forgot about this. Pretty much, I think that most of what they're focusing on with HD is like the engine, so they don't actually need to work on graphics, because if they do what RuneScape 3 does, they're in for a rough time, because RuneScape 3 nowadays has to constantly be reworking graphics, because some graphics are outdated, and then they have to rework them and rework and rework and rework, and by the time they're pretty much quote-unquote done, the graphics that they reworked at first are already outdated again, so they have to rework them again. It's basically a Sisyphean, like, challenge, right? So I really hope that if they're doing HD, at least from what I've read from the blog post, they only said that it was like, you know, the engine lighting and stuff like that, so, you know, you don't actually necessarily need to rework the graphics themselves. But yeah, I mean, again, it depends. I really hope that it doesn't fuck with the game or fuck with the graphics. Next up though, we have the summer sweep up, which, by the way, let me just say, it's actually really cool to see the smaller updates on here, like, I mean, quote-unquote smaller. Usually these summits are all about like the flashy big updates, but quality of life updates and small updates just make the game pretty much just as good as the big updates do. So, you know, this is something I actually hammer on a lot when it comes to RuneScape 3, so, you know, I'm glad to see that in old school Jagex is still treating the game that way, where smaller updates, you know, quality of life updates and everything are really important part of the game, and as a result we're gonna give them the spotlight like we give to all of the other big updates, right? For the updates themselves, we have combat adjustments, especially the halberd right now. I think it's good. You know, the halberd has been in a really weak state, and honestly I'm really interested where they're gonna take the monster weaknesses next, because they did talk about that the first like monster weakness thing was actually a huge success, which I think it was. I think it expanded combat without necessarily adding too much confusion or complexity, so I'm really interested to see where they go with it next. Chances are they probably are gonna take a lot of the shamanism things that they proposed in the blog post and a lot of the ideas that they had, and they're gonna just make them into the game, right, or adapt them into more combat adjustment things. And I think that especially another point is gonna be, because before Desert Treasure 2 was released, they put out a prayer book, because one of the rewards was gonna be a prayer book. Part of the rewards was something like the prayer penetration, or poison penetration and freeze penetration and stuff like that. I think that's probably the next step when it comes to making old school RuneScape combat more involved and more complex, so I think that's kind of the direction that they're gonna take with combat in old school. But yeah, again, like, it's a wait and see game, because they didn't really talk too much about things. You also have the loot rebalancing, at least for some drop tables. I've also been saying this for ages, but it doesn't make sense that some monsters, you know, with a higher difficulty have way less rewards than monsters that have lower difficulty. Like, for example, Gargoyles didn't used to drop that much GP, but then the Slayer, like, drop table rework thing happened where a lot of the monsters that were neglected because of the drop tables got the drop tables enhanced, but then that left, monsters like the Abyssal Demons, where unless you get an Abyssal Whip, the drops just fucking suck, honestly, right? You make less GP overall with Abyssal Demons than you do with Gargoyles. Abyssal Demons require 85 Slayer, Gargoyles require 70, right? So it's like, I wasn't a huge fan of that update. I get distributing the drop tables and everything and making some drop tables for some Slayer bosses, or some Slayer monsters rather, better, but I do think that was way too overkill, and it completely fucked over, especially monsters on the higher end, because goddamn. But I really just hate the meta as well, with the bosses just shitting out GP drops. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the, God Wars Dungeon. You get a big drop, you get a lot of money. If you don't get a big drop, sucks to be you, right? I'm really not a huge fan of those types of drop tables, and I wish Jagex reworked that, I really do, but I think they're never gonna do it, because it's been like this for so many years, and players are gonna get, especially PVMers, are gonna get upset that they can't make 10 million GP per hour without rare drops, right? Because that's kind of how PVM is nowadays in old school. It's like, no, I want to do PVM for GP, and then the rare drops are an extra on top of it, rather than the rare drops being the main thing you get from PVM. Personally, it's a sad state of things. I don't like the game treating things like that, especially because it kills any profitability that skilling has, because skilling in old school RuneScape is just shit GP, honestly. Like, it's very shit GP, bar a few selected methods of things that you can't even get with PVM. Pretty much if an item can be achieved through PVM, through a boss drop table, a Slayer monster drop table, that item is shit money, from a skilling perspective, right? And I just hate that idea, so, but I guess right now it's a bit too late to go back. As for Slayer, since we're talking about it, the adjustments are actually needed. I don't understand how it took them so long to actually get to them. Personally, I actually enjoy the cluster tasks from RuneScape 3. Those are actually really cool, and actually could be made into their own thing in old school RuneScape. Because they essentially, in old school RuneScape, sometimes when you get like greater demons, you can do multiple monsters, not just greater demons, but you can, for example, do Zamorak, because Zamorak is considered a greater demon, and they want to like expand on that, right? They want to expand on that sort of like cluster task type idea. Again, I just think they should just go get what RuneScape 3 did, because it's pretty cool to do cluster tasks there. And Sire, yes, look, Sire is not a fun boss fight. I'm sorry, I've done it with Max Melee, I've done it with the T-Bow. It's not fun. It's just not fun. It's not fun. It's not a fun boss. I really hope that they actually make it into an actual fun boss to fight. It's been a while that people have been complaining about Abyssal Sire because it's not fun or whatever, right? So yes, please fucking do something to it. And yes, obviously rebalance the price of the perks. I don't even understand why the price of the perks hasn't been rebalanced yet, but finally we're getting to it. Other than that, we have the Blood Moon Rises, which is a old school RuneScape Grandmaster quest, which will essentially like see the end of the Drakan family lore thing, because right now the last quest that you did, the other black woman, I forgot her name, got kidnapped by the main dude. They're all called Drakan, Lorniel, whatever the fuck his name is, whatever. Point being, this is the Grandmaster quest for it. Personally, I've always enjoyed the Grandmaster quests a lot. Monkey Madness 2, Dragon Slayer 2, right? Treasure Treasure 2. If it has a 2 on it, it's a good fucking quest, right? It's Sea Shanty 2, you know, like, if it has 2, it's good, right? That's the old school RuneScape thing. If it has a 2, it's amazing, right? So I'm kind of excited for it. Outside of the, you know, Wild Gothic Sleeps, which was kind of just a port, Grandmaster quests in old school are really good, so I'll not to be excited for this. And honestly, I really enjoy the TOB lore a lot, with the Yarsa and you know, the Nylakas and everything. I think it's getting really interesting, so personally I think Mauritania lore pretty fucking cool, excited to play it. And Vapirium does sound exciting, you know, like it's basically this new area that is going to be released, and honestly, I kinda dislike Valor more for trying to be like the RuneScape 3 big expansion thing, right? The essentially, hey, we're gonna release a new area and we're gonna release like 10 pieces of content for that area to quote-unquote be complete, right? I was always way more big fan of, hey, here's a new area, and then we unlock a little bit more of it, and then, oh, now we have this piece of content, you know, and oh, now you have this piece of content, right? Just slowly filling in the area more organically, rather than just trying to big area, all of the content, now we're gonna move on to the next thing, right? Because that's kind of what's gonna happen with Valarmore, you know, as soon as the next expansion come out, Valarmore is gonna be forgotten for like a year or two, before anything else comes to it, right? That's what's gonna happen, right? So I'm actually excited that Vampirium is gonna be sort of these, you know, hey, there's a little bit of a place, and then it's not massive or anything, but there's a few things for you to do, and then, you know, later on, if we want to add to it, we'll add to it, right? It just feels more alive and overall more organic, right? And honestly, what I'm excited is to see where the lore goes after, you know, because personally, I would actually love to have like smaller quests post the Drakan thing, where, like, for example, you rebuild Berg the Road, right, or rebuild the Dark Mayor or whatever. Like that city has been fucking shambles for over a decade, you know. Can we help them, please? Like, what did I trade my construction for, you know? Like, allow us to rebuild the city, you know. Like, again, like smaller quests like those I think would be really cool past the Grandmaster quest. But yeah, I'm actually really excited. Funnily enough though, and without wanting to spoil much, RuneScape 3 is also gonna have Imperium. So, you know, on the thing of one game update influencing the other game, yeah, I think the devs were talking a lot behind the scenes, because it's really ironic that both games announced Vampirion at the same time, and are we pretty much gonna be developing it at the same time, right? It's a bit weird, right? Like, they haven't touched the vampire thing for a while, and now it's just like, oh yeah, we're both gonna do vampire related things, with Vampirium no less, you know, because both games are gonna get it, right? So, really fucking funny. And lastly, but not least, sailing. Honestly, I don't have much to say on this because I am super excited, and I'm even debating if I'm actually going to take part on the alpha or not, because, look, as much as I'm really excited and I want to give feedback, I also don't want to spoil myself. I think that, you know, old school RuneScape sort of has lost his art of making updates exciting, you know, like you get into the game, you know that sailing was released, but you don't know anything about sailing, right? Like, you don't know what content you're gonna get, what regions you're gonna get, you don't know anything, you just go in completely blind, completely fresh, right? And I kind of want that, honestly, I kind of want that for myself, and it's a bit impossible because I've already seen some of the alpha stuff, and I've already seen some of the concept for the movement especially, which was like my biggest fear with the skill was, is the movement gonna be junky as fuck? Because if that's a yes, the skill's gonna suck. But, you know, apparently they've done a good job with the movement and everything. So, yeah, I'm trying to, like, avoid as many spoilers as I can, even if people keep throwing them at me. But, yeah, I don't know, I'm debating that, but I'm so fucking excited for sailing, bro. Like, the first old school RuneScape skill, sailing, you know, like, how to turn a meme into not a dream, a reality, whatever. Point being, I'm really excited, and yes, some people are still fucking upset that the skill is going ahead and are killing it, are calling for it to be scrapped, pretty much. Which, I mean, at this point, it's kind of a little bit impossible. And a lot of the argument, I mean, the arguments are pretty much always the same. Oh, but it should be a minigame. Yeah, but people want it to be a minigame, not because it would benefit the skill, right? Or basically the activity wouldn't be more beneficial for it to be a minigame, but rather because minigames in the game tend to be more inconsequential than skills, so if it's a minigame, people that don't like it don't need to participate in it, rather than, you know, you actually needing to try it to see if you like it or not, right? That's why people are calling it for it to be a minigame, not because it actually is a minigame, or it would benefit more from being a minigame than being a skill, so yes. Also, people usually bring up polls and everything. Sailing won both questions on the poll, and it won both polls that were made out of it, so it's pretty silly to bring up another poll for it when he already won both polls, you know, like, you can be like, oh, you know, which colors do you prefer between these 5, and then you know, say 3 colors, and then you say, okay, outside of the, or, you know, if you could only choose one color, which color you choose, and then that color, like, let's say black, wins both polls. I think that's pretty fucking decided, regardless by how much or how little it won. If you win both polls, that's a fucking win in my book, so I don't even know why people are still bringing up that fucking thing. You know, personally, I have no reason to distrust the capabilities of the old school RuneScape J mods. They really don't tend to miss when it comes to making updates. They've already proven time and time again that they are really good, be it with skilling, PVM, new areas. You know, sure, look, at the beginning, you know, 2014, 15, even 16, a lot of the stuff was maybe less polished, you know, like when Zé, or I guess Karen nowadays, was released, pretty fucking poor shape, and it took a few attempts for it to get right, you know, and even then I still think they could do with a couple of changes here and there, you know, but still, even if it is underwhelming, we already know that the JMods are there to fix it, they're there to make it better, they're there to, you know, devote as much as they can to make the thing enjoyable. So personally, I have no reason to distrust the old school RuneScape team. And I won't. I'm just gonna be excited for the skill to come out, and trust me, when I say that there's a lot of excited people for the skill to come out, I mean it. Just because they're not on social media continuously, you know, talking about how much they love the skill and they want the skill to come out, doesn't mean that the quote-unquote a majority of players fucking hates the skill. You just see the hate because, well, it's easier to voice your opinion when you don't like something than when you do, right? So yeah, a lot of people are excited for this, and so am I. But that's the news for old school RuneScape, and now let's get to the RuneScape 3, because oh my god, there's also way too much shit in RuneScape 3. First up, we have RuneScape 3 leagues. Oh my god, I made a standalone Ramble once, I think I remember, where I was pushing for this because I thought it was going to be incredibly beneficial for the game, and finally they listened, right, after so many people being like, RuneScape 3 leagues would be like really fucking cool, you know, but yeah, basically I think this is going to be immense for the game. I've already talked about the benefits that it's going to have on the game, the TLDR. A lot of players are going to be able to try RuneScape 3 without necessarily being able to commit a lot of time to the game, especially old school players, right? And this is just gonna be an overall good way to test content into the game, and perhaps even find out content that you're not sure people want, or maybe sometimes just want to design something fun and then players are like, hey, we want that into the game, or you know, like players are gonna be forced playing a specific way because, oh, area locked or whatever accounts, because that's the thing, that's how leagues started. Leagues started with the area locked account type, because the first leagues was only in Corinth when Camel's Lowlands hasn't been released yet. So fun times, but yeah, like essentially that allowed the Jagex to also see a lot of the areas and a lot of the little things that were, you know, not as developed and that weren't as you know, polished and whatnot. So again, I think all around the leagues is going to be a huge thing for RuneScape 3, both from a content perspective, player perspective, but also from just the, you know, actual in-game content and feedback perspective. I think this is going to be huge, and I'm not going to extend myself too much on this Ramble, because I plan to make a video essentially, you know, talking about what I want to see for the first leagues in RuneScape 3. I've participated in every league that old school had. I participated in Leagues 1, which was Korean, Leagues 2, which was Trailblazer, Leagues 3, which was Shattered Relics, Leagues 4, which was Trailblazer Reloaded, and now Leagues 5, which was the, forget the name, but it was basically fucking still area locked, but had the Echoes, boss, and stuff like that, right? So yeah, you know, I'm a veteran. I've already seen a lot of people talk about what they want in Leagues 3 and whatnot, or Leagues 3, or RuneScape 3 leagues. Personally, I have a little bit of a different take when it comes to that, but again, I'll leave for my own video so I can make a single video of it. Next up, however, we have Havenhide. Yeah, so remember about the Vampirium thing that you're gonna be able to visit in old school RuneScape? Havenhide is not Vampirium. However, Havenhide is the city, or I guess the town, that is gonna lead to Vampirium. Yeah, you know, if you really think that JMods don't speak between games, you're heavily fucking mistaken. You know, like, again, same announcement. Hello, Jagex. Both games, hello, you know. So, yeah, honestly, it's exciting. It's a new area, obviously. The town looks sort of like an eastern land, sort of like the Ark, but it's actually more developed, right? But it sort of has the same vibe to it, you know, which is going to be really exciting to explore, because I think for a long time players have asked, you know, oh man, I wish like I could actually visit the Ark as an actual like thing, rather than it's just being sort of this, you know, mini game, which for the people talking about, oh, sailing should be a minigame. Should it? fucking shoot it, because RuneScape 3 is both the Arc and player imports, and none of them are as fun as fucking Sailing looks to be, alright, so fuck off with that one. But yeah, there's a lot of new skilling opportunities. There's also gonna be the 110 enter, I think they announced it, so, you know, personally I didn't read a lot through what content you're gonna be able to do skilling wise. There's also the First Age archaeology site. I find it really cool that now they use archaeology as a way to develop, or to deliver rather, extra lore to the players. Honestly, that skill has been a pretty fucking like amazing addition to the game in more ways than one, so that's pretty fucking cool. Yeah, there's a lot of exciting thing. Personally, I didn't pay too much attention to them because kind of what I want, and this is something that I never really had with old school, but I want RuneScape 3 and even old school if that was possible. But sometimes I just want a new area and know that the new area is gonna come into the game, but not being told anything about it, right? Or like to have Jagex just say, yeah, we're working on like this update, you know, and then just one day it drops into the game, right? No, I know that like nowadays we live in an age where everything needs to be hyped up, where everything needs to be like exposed, and everything needs to just, oh, you know, like look at this amazing thing we're gonna deliver, you know, like that's sort of the age and the marketing that we exist on. But I really miss the days of just logging into the game with a new piece of content and not knowing that it was gonna be released, right? Like Anachronia, perfect fucking example. You know, I log into the game and I'm like, oh, there's a fucking boat, okay, and I just click on the boat and I go Anachronia and I'm like, oh, okay, this is a new island. And then I see a fucking dinosaur and I go, oh shit, they actually put those in the game. Oh, I did not fucking expect that, I can tell you that much. And then it wasn't just one dinosaur, it was multiple, and I was able to actually like explore the island and see what it had and like have this sort of sense of wonder that I hadn't had in ages, right? So in a way, to me it's a bit disappointing that nowadays everything is to be hype and everything is to like be amazing new release and oh, we're gonna be working on X, Y, and Z, rather than just being, yeah, by the way, so we worked on this in secret, here it is, enjoy. Right, because that sense of one, you know what I mean? I think it's kind of lost, you know, and I really hope that, especially old school with Vampirium, I really hope they're just like, yeah, you're gonna be able to explore Vampirium. What's in it? I don't fucking know. And I hope that RuneScape 3 does the same shit, right? Yeah, you're gonna be able to explore Vampirium, there's a new boss fight, that's pretty much it, that's all the information you get, you know, and then you have to actually go in and like explore, oh, okay, like what the fuck do we get, like what's Vampirium, how is it like, you know? Like, I don't know, I kind of want to have that sense again, you know, but still, you know, regardless of that, yeah, it does sound hype, and it does sound cool, and the 4E Forest actually sounds like the concept from the Desert Treasure 2 Stranglewood place from the old school RuneScape Desert Treasure 2 quest, yeah, honestly, kind of exciting. I wanna again, like just like Sailing, I really wanna try and like avoid spoilers for this because I really just wanna go in like blind and sort of like see what's up with it. Well, I mean, I had the same theory about Necromancy and I still haven't touched the fucking thing, so technically while I don't know everything Necromancy does or entails, especially when it comes to the city of I do know some things because I got spoiled because, well, yeah, I'm on the internet, so you know, maybe it's not the best, but still. Also, another thing to point out is this seems to be a Valarmore style of developing, which RuneScape 3 has a lot of, but I'm usually afraid of this style because I don't like it. It's usually the focal point of development, and as a result, other areas tend to be neglected, and we've seen this before. Obviously, now with the 110 skills, hopefully, you know, like other areas and whatnot keep being developed, you know, we keep seeing content in other areas of the map, kind of like how old school RuneScape does it. You know, old school RuneScape is capable of, hey, here's a brand new expansion and everything, right, but we still do content for other areas of the map and whatnot, and we retouch on other areas of the map and other pieces of content, right, which actually, that's why probably I've never been a huge fan of Valarmore to begin with. I just don't enjoy this style of, here's a new area, here's a new content expansion, it's completed, let's move on to the next thing. Because that's not the style of old school, and that's not the style I enjoy. The style I enjoy is just, okay, look, small little area, we're gonna keep adding to it, slowly, and then we'll figure out where we go from there, right? So I really hope that here, at least the way they describe it as, okay, this is gonna be like the God War Saga, type of thing, but for a place, right? So we're only gonna focus on this, fuck everything else, right? I really hope it's not like that. I really hope it's a, hey, here's a little bit of this area, go to explore it, and then later on they, hey, here's a little bit more of this area, go explore it, right? Because that helps it, it helps it deliver, or at least stay relevant for longer, while also being able to still develop other parts of the map and other content in the game. Also, chances are, and this is a bet I'm making, we're going to get a new skill here specifically. Vampirion coming 2027, that's 4 years since the Necromancy release, and usually skills are on a 4 to 5 year release cycle, where, basically, year 1 is you release the skill and you tweak the skill, you release stuff to it, right? You just release a lot of content updates to it. Year 2 is trying to make the skill more integrated into the game, and then year 3 and year 4 is developing new skill, programming it, and doing everything related to it. And I think, given how big Avenhide is, I think that the new skill is gonna be related to these places, right? Like, if I had to guess, I would probably guess something like shamanism, probably, like stuff that is gonna help, like, combat and skilling, especially because, the first age, a new, like, statue, and then Vampirium itself, like, there's just a lot of, like, mystical forces, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel, I don't know, like, I just think that shamanism is probably, like, it has a lot of cool shit for RuneScape 3, so it wouldn't surprise me if RuneScape 3 grabbed a lot of the concepts for it and made them, a lot of them, based on this place, in the way you train it and everything, right? Especially because, from what I read, City of seemed to be quite a hit when it came to, I guess, quote-unquote, being the skilling hub of Necromancy. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Avenhide is gonna be like the new place for the, alongside Vampirium, is gonna be like the new place for the new skill. That's a bet I'm making, honestly. But yeah, I'm always a huge fan of the map expanding, especially the eastern lands, probably we're gonna maybe get some Zautak action as well, so, we'll see. Next up we have some new desert quests, to be more precise, but I actually find it cool they're going back to actually finish this. The God Saga felt a bit rushed and pretty much left the Desert Saga in the middle of it, so it did feel really unexplored. So, I'm glad that despite the God Saga being over, that they're still touching and taking the time to actually finish the saga, especially because I know that, a lot of people enjoy it, and to not leave it completely unfinished. Although at the same time, I do feel that a lot of other aspects in the game, especially relating to the God Saga and gods in those places, kind of just left a bit neglected, because at least this one, they sort of left it in the middle, so they can go back and finish it. But are they gonna, like, start the other ones that they have planned? I don't know. But yeah, honestly, it's cool that they're going back. Other than that, I'm gonna be honest, Desert really is not my favorite place, and I don't care about a lot of the lore for it, and I don't care about a lot of the activities in it. But again, I'm excited that at least they are. It's a good sign that, despite leaving it midway through because of the God Saga, that they're actually taking the time to go back, and they've already released a quest for the desert earlier this year, right? So I'm glad that they're taking the time to actually do that. With that being said, the desert has had a huge focus, and I am not a huge fan of the desert, so unfortunate for me, but hey, fortunate for everyone else. Next up we have the Blooming Barrow. Honestly, I like seasonal quests, and I really hope there's also some little events like the maze in Halloween, for example. With that being said, I'm not the biggest fan of these events as a whole, like as the entire hub and everything, because these now are just huge hub, and they have a lot of skilling activities and whatnot. I think they get way too much focus, right? Especially because they are like time limited, so again, they're more used to, like I was talking about earlier, how everything needs to be hyped and advertised. I think these time limited events are the perfect example of that, right? Because they're time limited, you advertise them, oh yeah, come and play your game, like this event ends, guys, this event is time limited, come and play your game, and it's like, yeah, sure, but does that actually contribute positive for the game? Because outside of people actually logging in to play the game and whatnot, what guarantees that they'll stay around after the event is over and everything? And then they have other, like, bad things relating to like the design of certain skills and everything. Like I've already talked about how skills get neglected a lot because a lot of these events just give way too much fucking XP. Speaking of which, I've been working on that engineering video. Perfect example, the beach with the hole. Like, most people don't even care about training the engineering anymore in Demonheim because, hey, oh, where's the beach? Hey, AFK the engineering in the hole. Cool, that's it. Should we make the engineering updates to, you know, because the skill is kind of outdated? Nah, don't bother. I mean, people just wait for the beach, for the hole, and that's pretty much it. That's free XP. Right, I just think it hurts a lot of the potential updates and a lot of the push for the updates, because a lot of players feel, well, what's the point of you doing updates in this skill when we just have this event that showers us with XP? There's no point, right? But then also it just weakens the skill, right? And it doesn't give that choice for the players, because I'm a player that doesn't care too much about these events, or at least like the XP side of these events. I only care about like the little fun quest, right? And the little like fun activity, and that's it, right? Then I move on to the next thing. So, you know, to me, it kind of sucks that I almost feel forced to do a lot of these activities if I don't like the skill, because if I don't, I know the skill won't get any more other alternatives to be trained, right? So, not a huge fan. On top of that, it also feels really bad to spend so much time working on these updates for activities that are gonna be removed in like 2-3 weeks, right? Like for example, the Halloween maze. Really fun activity, something that could have stayed in the game. It was removed. Why? Right? Like, you spent so long working on that fucking maze to make it fun for players, which it was, right? It was fun, especially to do. I mean, it wasn't that fun to grind, let's be honest, but it was fun to do a few times a day, right? A few runs, that was fun. Why so much work to then remove it after 3 weeks? It just feels bad to spend so long working, because like one of the main reasons as to why we usually get, especially from players, I hear this from players all the time, oh, but you actually shouldn't rework certain pieces of content because then they would just be that content and that would be wasted dev time. Okay, but isn't this wasted dev time? We're spending so long working on limited time events for them to then just disappear in like 2-3 weeks? And we're working on them because, well, yeah, we shower players with XP, so players expect this event to happen. I don't know, it's just, personally, it irks me. And then, you know, you also have the maze problem where the cosmetics were incredibly fucking rare for no reason. Like, basically, when I look at a seasonal event, I want old school RuneScape seasonal event. You know, I want a fun little quest that gives me cosmetic rewards, and then I want maybe, you know, a little small activity that I can do maybe a few times a day for fun, you know, just to enjoy the activity a little bit, and then I get cosmetics from that. Is easily earnable, right? And then I move on, because, truth be told, you don't want to spend a lot of time working on those updates, because those updates are very time limited, right? And players just are looking for something to enjoy while playing the game, like a little break from the game, and that's pretty much it. So it kind of sucks that there's, like, personally, it kind of sucks that there's such a huge, because we have Blooming Barrow, and then we have the Owl, and then we have the Halloween hub, and then we have the Christmas Village hub, right? So in the entire, like, roadmap, we have 4 seasonal events, and for what, really? You know, because at least if it was only one hub, and it was like, okay, you know, all we need to do is just, you know, change the activities, or like put on a different coat of paint or whatever, that would have been fine. And I think that's kind of what they are doing now with the hubs, because, you know, the next year, like the Christmas Village, for example, was mostly the same between last year and this year, bar a few different activities, right? So I guess that's kind of what they're doing. But again, like, why devote so much time and put this to be such a huge part of the game, when what players are looking for is more the seasonal activities they offer, rather than specifically like the XP showers or whatever, right? But yeah, you know, at least we're gonna have a new quest with that, and that's the thing that I'm most excited for. Next up, we have the augmented runecrafting and thieving. Essentially, it's an update to Invention, where you're gonna get new main hands to do these skills. You're also gonna have new components, new perks and everything. Honestly, as much as Invention can be a clusterfuck at times, it's really cool that it's the skill that just actually gives a lot of space to rewards, right? Because this is essentially a support skill where, if you think about a thing, you can offer it through Invention, right? You can offer a new perk, you can offer new components, you can offer new augmentable stuff for a specific skill, any skill in the game, right? that's actually really cool. It creates a lot of space, and while I'm not really that excited for like a, you know, runecrafting thieving main end thing that just is gonna have a few perks, because I thought that it will change the gameplay substantially, again, it's one of those smaller updates that really makes up the game, right? Because these updates, they slowly build up the game to have, you know, when you have a lot of these updates, you pretty much have a major update. So it's really cool that, again, they actually put this on the calendar, they put this into, hey, this is one of the things we're gonna do. That's pretty cool. Next up we have 110 crafting, and one of the 110 skill updates that have been happening for a while. Personally, I've already mentioned that the skills need more updates than the 110s only, but these are actually always a nice way to give more content and more rewards, while also touching up some of the parts of the skill that might need a little bit of a touch up, right? So, you know, I'm not like super excited for it, because crafting is kind of like, nah, I guess, right? But it's nicer doing it. However, because it's a small issue here, one of the things that I read was that essentially you're going to be able to craft high-level magic armor and masterwork magic armor, and I just got really confused, because we just got the 110 rune crafting update that allows you to craft like tier 90, I think, and tier 100, the Masterwork 1 version, with rune crafting, which makes sense, you know, you craft runes, magic, used in magic, so you craft also weapons using rune crafting, right? So, it's kind of normal. So, why do you have crafting for magic armor specifically? Because, like, especially, I always associated crafting more with ranged armor, not with magic armor. Like, it's weird for that crafting is gonna have the magic armor masterwork, right? Like, I would expect rune crafting to have that, since now rune crafting also has the magic weapons, right? I get that, you know, crafting is, especially towards the lower levels, you can kind of craft a little bit of everything, but like, this leaves crafting a little bit bloated, in my opinion, with crafting having both ranged armor, because you can do the height, especially black height, which is tier 70, right, and magic armor, right? And if ranged armor was to transfer to fletching, you know, then fletching would have both ranged weapons and ranged armor, but then why isn't magic weapons crafted using the crafting skill? Or otherwise, the magic armor would be to rune crafting as well. Like, crafting is such in a weird fucking spot. It has way too many things, and most of them are completely fucking unrelated to it. Like, personally, here's what I would do. I would put the magic masterwork to be done, the magic armor masterwork, to be done with rune crafting like the weapon. Smithing already is responsible for the masterwork armor and masterwork weapons, and then I would put the ranged masterwork pretty much armor, because you already have the weapons with fletching, on fletching, and I would leave crafting purely focused on jewelry, you know, focused on gloves, focused on bracelets, focused on necklaces, stuff like that, right? Because the reality is, a lot of those, while you can quote-unquote craft them, a lot of them also are based out of PVM drops, and I would love to see more higher level craftable jewelry that is actually important in combat, and especially important in skilling. Old School does this. Old School has a lot of little bracelets and stuff like that. They just help you with skilling, right? Especially alongside magic when you can enchant them, right? I think crafting in RuneScape 3 should be purely for that, right? Because then you have 3 skills that are responsible for crafting both weapons and armors for their respective skills, so rune crafting for magic, fletching for ranged, and smithing for melee. And then you have crafting for, you know, kind of like everything else, like the helm maybe, you know, the necklace, the little gloves, the bracelet, right, the rings, you know. I think it would just be better. I think it would organize things much better. So, I mean, maybe that's gonna happen later on down the line. I doubt it, but I think that's where I would love to see with crafting, because it would actually make crafting a little bit more organized, and every skill would be a bit more organized when it comes to crafting stuff for combat, right? And even crafting stuff for skilling as well, because I don't think that everything needs to be craftable with the crafting skill for skilling. But yeah, there's also going to be urn related things where you're going to be able to upgrade your urns and whatnot. See, like, that's what I mean. That's proper for crafting. That's a good thing for crafting. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. Not saying that it's bad necessarily, but I just would love to see a, you know, better organization type thing. And then we have Amaskut, the new boss, which, you know, with the end of the Desert Quest series, obviously you kind of do need a endgame boss to call it out, or to close it out rather. Bosses personally aren't very exciting to me, since they are, like, there's so many of them, and, you know, I don't know, like, they're always a nice addition, I guess, but personally, it's not like the thing that I'm going, oh, I need to definitely play. You know, it's always like, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it, right? I'm actually, like, it's curious to see them actually going all out with the desert boss, rather than, you know, because basically the way they described it, it feels like this is like a Gillinor level threat boss, right? Which, I mean, might as well be, sort of, but, you know, it's Amaskut. I expected something maybe a little bit smaller, I guess, in scope, but no, they're just going all out. Another thing is that this boss is actually a group boss, and personally, I really hope it scales. Like, even if it's more efficient to do with 5 players, I really hope it scales to allow you to at least, like, duo it, you know? Because I personally, I don't enjoy boss things. Like, I already don't PVM too much. When I have to, like, group for stuff, not a huge fan personally. Also, it's a very interesting theory that they actually proposed here, which was with the, essentially, the base mode of the boss is going to be the challenge mode, because you have normal mode, hard mode, and challenge mode. But normal mode and hard mode are only going to be unlocked for the rest of the community once someone defeats the boss, once a group of people defeat the boss in challenge mode. Right, I think that's actually a really interesting theory. I think it actually does help delay perhaps a little bit of the prices and whatnot, although not too much, because as soon as he gets defeated once, the mode just gets unlocked instantly, from at least what the blog had. You know, but yeah, personally, I don't know how to feel about this type of things. You know, I think I've already talked about this in a video about, like, I'm not sure if the game should have an hard mode and whatnot. You know, it's a bit weird. Personally, I think that if they're gonna do this, I think they should just follow sort of the reward scaling that the OA offers in Old School RuneScape, where basically you can still do the dungeon in entry mode and get rewards, but the uniques are way more common in, like, the elite mode, right? The normal mode, they are more common than entry, but then elite mode are way more common than normal. Right, because that would actually help balance things out between the, you know, the boss sort of being quote-unquote safe, but also allowing you to get rewards, and the boss actually giving you a challenge, right? Because ultimately, again, it always feels weird to me how some bosses, like, you can get some uniques in normal mode, but then some of them you can only get them in hard mode, but then in other bosses you can get both drops in hard mode and normal mode. But some of them are just more I don't know, it's a bit of a clusterfuck. You know, it's a bit weird. But yeah, personally, I think I would just make, like, challenge mode and normal mode, you know, like, sort of, you know, Chambers of Xeric, where it's like, yeah, you have the normal mode and then you have fucking challenge mode, right? That's it. Right, it's easier to make things a bit more streamlined. Maybe you can make an entry mode for people to, like, learn how to do basically a story mode like the TOB has, although that's not a very good one, but still, you know, just to introduce players, you know. I just think, I don't know, personally, I'm not a huge fan of every boss having, like, 3 or 4 different, like, modes to it. Like, if I'm gonna do a boss, I don't want to have to read what's the pros and cons of doing in specific mode and what drops are available in which mode. It's just a clusterfuck. Like, just, hey, here's the normal mode. Oh, people want stuff more challenging. Here's the challenge mode. That's it. Fucking deal with it, right? You can get both drops in both modes, just in one mode you get them more frequently. That's it. And if you want to defeat them in challenge mode, you get cosmetics, right? For example, both. Every single thing, every single raid in Old School RuneScape, pretty much, normal mode has all of the drops. Challenge mode has increased drop rates, and it has like these little augment kits that you can put on your weapons that you earn from the raid to show that, hey, you've done challenge mode, right? And you've gotten the drop in challenge mode, right? I think that's what RuneScape 3 should start doing, because personally, I'm not a huge fan of like having different modes and then having nothing to fucking show for it, right? Like, bro, if I want to do fucking carry pack in normal mode, just let me do the fucking boss in normal mode. Why are you cock blocking me from getting fucking rewards for it? Oh, but we want people to do the boss in hard mode. Then just release hard mode alone. Like, you know, release hard mode, that's where you get the drops, and then you release entry mode where people can, like, practice the mechanics or whatever. And that's it. Like, why is it that so fucking hard to... you know what I mean? Like, again, it's a cluster fucking RuneScape 3, you know? So, and now we have 3 different modes, I guess, for the fucking boss. Now, one thing that I actually read that I actually dislike so fucking much with exclusive titles. Basically, the first team to defeat the boss in challenge mode that will unlock a normal mode and hard mode for the rest of the community is gonna get an exclusive title, right, for being the first to defeat it. I have harped on this multiple, and I mean multiple fucking times. Exclusive fucking rewards absolutely fucking suck for the game. They just suck. One of the worst things ever that I absolutely despise about multiplayer games is getting into a game, seeing a player with a cool skin, or seeing a player with like a cool little medal or like a cool little name or whatever, and then going to, you know, the internet and searching how to get that, and then fucking being like, this is from a limited time event that was available 20 years ago. Oh, you weren't alive around then? Sucks to be you. Get fucked. Like, it's such a huge middle finger to fucking players playing the game, right? Like, imagine fucking Lil Timmy, right? Lil Timmy joins the game, you know, 3 years from now, and he's like, oh yeah, actually PVM is really fucking fun, I'm gonna like learn PVM, and then he becomes like a fucking PVM legend, right? And then he sees people running around with this really cool fucking title, and he's like, hey, I wanna fucking get that. And then you just fucking find out that unless you have a fucking time machine, there's zero way for you to get the fucking title. Sucks to be you, lol, right? Like, I get wanting to reward players that, you know, are a cat above the rest, right? Players that have done something that no one else has done. But I just think there's so many other better ways to fucking do that don't involve, oh yeah, by the way, because they were the first ones to do a thing, you no longer are able to get these rewards. Because stuff like titles, stuff like cosmetics and everything, those are rewards that players want to be able to earn in-game. It's the same shit with party ads. I'm not a huge fan of party ads because, for the most part, you cannot earn them in-game anymore. They're just gone. Like, unless you're incredibly wealthy and you want to buy a party ad out of someone that wants to sell it, it's over, right? You cannot get it, you cannot earn it. And I just hate that. I really, really, really dislike that. You know, with how big titles are in the game and everything, man, I'm not against titles that are really rare or really hard to get or whatever. I'm against titles that are impossible to get, you know what I mean? Titles that no matter what you do, there's no way for you to get them anyway anymore. It's the same shit with cosmetics. Like, if you play Darkscape, you have access to a cape, right? Darkscape is fucking gone. It has been gone for years, by the way. Like, Darkscape predates Deadman mode in old school RuneScape, right? So unless you were playing the game way back then, you will never, ever, ever have that cape. Why? With what purpose? Like, do you think I feel special that I was playing the game when Darkscape was around and I gave Darkscape a shot? I don't. Like, yeah, it was cool, the Darkscape was a cool idea and whatnot, but I don't give a fuck about having an exclusive cape to show it off. Like, sure, the cape is cool to have, it looks cool, but I don't care about it being exclusive. I couldn't give two shits about it. Like, that doesn't improve my gameplay. You know what I mean? Again, it's the same shit with party ads. You know, I don't have a party ad, but if I were to have one, I doubt that a party ad would enhance my fucking gameplay because it's exclusive and not a lot of people have it. I don't give a shit, right? Like, RuneScape is not about fucking competing with other players to see who's the fucking best, it's about competing with yourself and going on your own journey, right? And while yes, some people get really competitive about certain things in the community, again, I think there's better ways of showcasing that, hey, you know, players did one thing. Like, old school had that crack the clue thing, you know, the crack the clue 3 especially, right? Not 3 actually, it was 2. And Crack the Clue was a thing where, like, pretty much you had to discover clues and everything to try and get items, you know? And people took a really long time to find out what the last item rather, which was the elm, actually was. And then when player finally discovered that, they got their name added to the examine text. Everyone is still able to get the helmet, but that player has an exclusive examine text for it, right? Why can't you do the same thing? You know, hey, the first fucking group of players that defeats the boss will permanently have, you know, an examine text on like the NPC that takes you to the boss or whatever, or in the boss themselves, right? The boss essentially just tell you that, hey, this boss has been slain by the epic fucking this person, right? That way, players can still fucking get titles and can still get cosmetics or can get whatever the fuck they want, because it would be really easy for Crack the Clue to be like, yeah, the first player to get this item gets this item. That's it, they're the only one that has it. But why? Like, that just sucks for the rest of the fucking players, you know? Oh, you weren't around, you weren't... Again, because, like, it's the same shit with the party ads, right? Oh, you weren't around in 2001, you weren't even fucking born. Because, for the people that don't know, if you were born in 2001, you would be 23, 24 years old right now. Yeah, you would be quite old. You could possibly can even be playing this fucking game. Oh, right, there's no way for you to get that fucking reward. It's gone, it's never coming back. You know what I mean? It's like, it's... Why? Why? Like, I think that right now we're past the necessity to have, like, exclusive shit. Like, in a way, look, the timed cape with your account being super old, I get that. Because eventually you'll achieve that, you know? Time moves forward, it never moves backwards, right? So eventually you'll achieve that. Stuff like the Golden Gnomes or the Weekend title. I get those. Those are incredibly fucking exclusive. Chances are you're never gonna get that, right? But at least there are things that you can try and get. There are things that you can actually pursue. There are things that are there and they're not exclusive in the sense of you can never get it back, right? But there are things where they're exclusive because they're really hard to get, right? So if you want to be part of an exclusive community, just try and be exclusive rather than, you know, trying to fucking have players just do a thing that is super time limited that never will be back. Or other players will never have the chance of getting it again. Like, let's say that I'm the best PvMer in the game, and I'm sick during that day. Like, the day of release, I'm sick, I cannot fucking play, I cannot get out of bed. Oh, yeah, I might be the best PvMer in the game, never will get the title again, because I was fucking sick. I wasn't even given the opportunity to get the title. Like, you know what I mean? It just fucking sucks. And there's no necessity for it, because that's the thing, like, if there was a necessity for it, sure, but there's no necessity. I hate MMORPGs that do that shit, and, like, it's in these little things that RuneScape 3 keeps reminding me that they're not the cool MMORPGs like old school RuneScape and Final Fantasy XIV, right? They're not the, oh, we're so cool, we're hip, we're mainstream, we do things well that no other MMORPGs do. No, they're just the, we're fucking dying, so we're trying to monetize the game as much as we can MMORPGs. Right? Which just fucking sucks. RuneScape 3 doesn't have the need to do this shit. You don't have the need to bait people to try and do this boss day of release to try and get an exclusive title. People will do the boss regardless. And if you wanna, like, have an exclusive... Like, do you know what Old School did with the Inferno? You know, the Inferno, mega fucking PvM challenge. Hardest fucking challenge to be released into the game. The follow-up to the Fight Caves. Super fucking iconic piece of content, being now having a sequel to it. How are we going to reward the player that first completes it? Oh, I know, let's give them an IRL Fire Cape, or rather Infernal Cape. That's what they did. They did a competition where they essentially allowed people to speedrun the Fight Caves. Right, fastest would win. What they won? IRL Fire Cape. Right? They have an exclusive item that no other player has, and people don't need to feel bad that they don't have an item in-game. Right? You can still get those items in-game, it's just that, hey, these players went above and beyond and they have an IRL, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why in-game there's this necessity to have, like, exclusive shit that you can just never get again. Like, it's not a, hey, it will be back next year. No, it's a, you either are the first to complete, or you will never, ever have this title. That is just dumb fucking design. I hate that way of conducting an MMORPG. And again, while other MMORPGs definitely need that shit to keep the hype going so they can keep fucking making money out of it, I don't think RuneScape 3 needs that. Like, the boss itself is gonna be killed anyway, people are gonna try and fucking kill it, because really, who the fuck is in the high-end PvM PVMer that is gonna try and fucking, or doesn't gonna try and fucking be the first one to complete this shit. Every person that is gonna be able to, on release, complete challenge mode, will try to complete challenge mode on release. You don't need to fucking incentivize people with an exclusive title. Right? Again, if you wanna like do something cool, give them an IRL like piece of merch that is like, you know, like related to Amascoot challenge mode or some shit like that. Like a little crown or whatever the fuck, right? Give them a plushie that no one else has, right? Make their fucking games be in the examined text of the boss in game or some shit. Why an exclusive title? Right? But anyway, that's my fucking little rant, that's my point. I think I'm fucking done with that. I think I've made my point across, but this is exactly the reason as why I'll always fucking prefer old school to RuneScape 3. Like, I'm sorry, like, as much as I enjoy RuneScape 3, it's these little things, bro. It's these little things that annoy me that I'm like, yeah, old school is better. You know, because in old school, I don't need to worry about this shit. Oh, I don't have a party yet in old school. Oh, well, no, I'll wait for the next event and I'll fucking get one. I'll earn one. Oh, I don't have this cool cosmetic reward. I'll just wait for the next event so I can unlock it. Right? Like, it actually gives you fucking opportunity to do these things, rather than, oh, you weren't around like 10 fucking years ago. Sucks to be you. You're never gonna get this thing. You know? Like, come on, RuneScape 3, you're better than this. You're fucking better than this, alright? You can do fucking better. Come on, I fucking trust you can do better. You can come up with better rewards than this and better challenges than this, alright? Like, I fucking believe you. Don't fucking ruin this shit. By the way, speaking of, I really hope they don't release exclusive rewards for RuneScape 3. I really fucking don't. For the leaks. You know, because, you know, they did that shit with Fresh Start Worlds, and again, it pisses me off. Right? Oh, what's that? You don't have money to pay for an extra account of membership so you can fucking try and be in the top 100 players of getting 200 mil skill in one, or 200 mil XP in one specific skill. So, you can get an exclusive, like, fuck me, bro. RuneScape, stop RuneScape 3. Like, please, just fucking stop, alright? You're better than this. Other than that, we have other updates, which, I guess, they weren't as highlighted, but they're there. We're gonna have a new quest, which is to be expected, obviously, you know, with the fucking ending of Amascoot's Menace. I wonder what they're gonna do, I wonder where they're gonna focus on, and I wonder what next threat we're gonna have. We're also gonna have a combat update. I don't know what this is about. Honestly, EOC hasn't really been touched, at least very heavily, in ages, so I'm wondering if this is like the next step. And we also have 110 thieving. Again, pretty much like with the rest of 110s, I just hope for a new skilling method, and yeah, you know, these are needed for the game. And we have more seasonal events. Again, don't really care much about this, they're not the type, aside from the little quest that I get to do. And then, at the end of the entire fucking blog, we have a new skill. And look, I fucking called it. I have been calling a new skill for, like, since pretty much last year, right? Again, 4-year development cycle, you know? Like, it's been, you know, fucking Necromancy was released in 2023, new skill 2027. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. New skill 2027. And again, like, as I mentioned, I think the new skill is probably going to be related to Avonhide, Vampirium. Like, I think that's sort of the thing that they're gonna be doing. I think it's probably, as I've mentioned, I think it's gonna probably be something related to shamanism, you know. We've already gotten enough proof in these sort of little things, little releases, or little, I guess, fucking future ahead thing, whatever the fuck they call it, that both games tend to take inspiration from one another, so it wouldn't surprise me if the new skill was something related to the shamanism or something inspired by shamanism. You know, essentially shamanism is really nice when it comes to especially the part of the time limited buffs, you know, you being able to like do rituals and whatnot to get buffs, right, to be applied during combat or during skilling. I think that fits RuneScape 3 perfectly, especially alongside prayer and alongside invention and whatnot, right? Essentially, with them saying that it's based on necromancy and archaeology, I can only assume that it's going to sort of be in that direction, right? Essentially, it's probably gonna have the necro of like doing the rituals, right? And it's gonna have the archaeology of like the passive little things that you can get, right? The passive little effects that you can get in the game. So I think this is gonna be an hybrid support skill for both skilling and combat. I don't think it will be technically a gathering skill like archaeology or combat skill like necro. I think it's just gonna be a baseline support skill for other parts of the game. So yeah, I think it will be heavily inspired in shamanism, especially the time limited buffs that you could do, like the little rituals that you could then activate, sort of work like potions, but you know, they're rituals. So yeah, basically that's it for all of the updates. Now, as far as the Golden Gnomes go, I gotta say, I feel kind of disappointed on Pragmatic Covers didn't win. Obviously, I'm heavily biased because I have made RuneScape music videos for it. I mean, I've seen the channel grow, I'm friends with everyone there, so I've given a lot of feedback on a lot of the songs as well. So, you know, I can't say that I'm biased when it comes to that, but I think it's because of that it kind of sucks to see them not winning anything, because ultimately, I do see how much effort goes into the channel. I do see like how much effort goes into the songs and even tweaking the songs, because it would be really easy to just sort of go grab like a sheet of music online and then just replace the instruments with RuneScape instruments and call it a day. But that's not what Sam does, right? Like, he actually goes in and it sometimes even changes parts of the songs to fit RuneScape better and to sound more RuneScapey, right? That's always a concern with the songs. You know, all of the art is also on point. It's always on point. Super talented people. So I see like the consistency as well, like the absolute consistency of the channel on putting out covers. You know, so like seeing all of the effort that goes into the channel and then seeing that they didn't even get a single award kinda sucks. You know, I'm not saying that none of the people that won the categories that they were in don't deserve it. I think, you know, the lore keeper person definitely deserves it as well. I mean, everyone that was nominated, I think, kind of deserved it. It's but the one that stung the most, although, was the one that Jimmy won. Like, look, sure, song is kind of cool, right? It's a good song, but at the same time, it's like, it does have 300, I think 400k subs. You know, and Pragmatic Cover S20, so yeah, they were never gonna fucking win that category. That's, again, that's kind of the problem with Golden Gnomes. It's always gonna be a popularity contest, so yeah, you're gonna kinda be fucked to win the categories that have like the bigger creators, and you know, sometimes other people are just as talented as you, and you know, they win instead. But I really hope next year they actually do like manage to at least get one, because I think that if there's any channel out there that actually does deserve it, it's them, alongside the RuneScape. Because speaking of music, because it's kind of a shame that this person didn't get nominated. Goki pretty much makes like arrangements for RuneScape 3. Like, these aren't covers or anything like that, he just makes arrangements to, like, you know, they're just original compositions as far as I can hear, and he's been putting out some of them for a while now, and honestly, it's kind of a shame that it doesn't really, like, get any nominations related to music related things. Again, you know, Old School has way bigger of a fan base than RuneScape 3, so yeah, I never expected Goki to actually be able to get any nomination. But yeah, honestly, if there's any channel that I think you should be nominating next year, especially when it comes to music, Goki, I think, is a really underrated channel. So and I'm just shouting out a random channel now, I don't even know why, but yeah, hopefully next year on Pragmatic Covers does win something, you know, and obviously I will always keep working with them, and I'll keep making RuneScape music videos. They're super fun to make. RuneScape music videos are super fun to make. I also have fun making them, and I know this last one, the one for the Linkin Park New Divide, which we called Bloody Hide, because the pants. I know that one was actually super well received, especially by certain creators in the community, so I'm actually really glad to see, and I really hope next year they do actually win something. Again, totally not biased, by the way, you know, I'm not biased at all, I'm just really fucking biased. Also, another thing that I want to talk about when it comes to Golden Gnomes, one more thing. There was a VTuber there. That was nominated for Best Streamer, if I'm not mistaken, Best Old School RuneScape Streamer, and no shot she didn't win. Because here's the thing, that VTuber, first of all, VTubers just have rabid fans, right? Like, if there's any little thing that you can vote on, that the public can be involved on, VTubers are gonna win. It's not even a fucking question, right? They're just gonna win. This fucking, you know, VTubers are massive, and especially this VTuber is massive. They're part of the Hololive, like, talent agency, which is a massive talent agency. From what I could look at the numbers, this VTuber has more fucking live viewers than they almost every other new streamer had followers combined. So to me, I was like, okay, yeah, the award is definitely gonna go to her. And then she didn't win, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Everyone is super surprised that she didn't win because of her sheer size. She's immense, like she easily would have won that shit, right? So I think, I'm not saying that it was rigged, but I think that what happened is that despite her getting sort of nominated, that she probably told Jagex that she didn't want to win or whatever. And I mean, in a way, good thing she didn't, because knowing old school RuneScape players, she would have gotten a few nice messages, you know, considering what or how some old school RuneScape players act. She would definitely have to deal with some interesting people, to say the least. So probably, you know, what happened was that first, because this is not even her main game, she is mostly a variety streamer. It's not the first time that happened where you know, a VTuber plays the game and then gets a lot of like stuff, like a lot of hype for it, even though it's not her main game or whatever. So yeah, I think it was just basically she asked not to win, you know, because it wouldn't be the first time like streamers or content creators just sort of ask their audience to not vote on them, or just ask Jagex to not be nominated or not win or whatever, or maybe not win, but at least not be nominated. I know the Press League is probably like the oldest example of that, where she won one time and then she didn't want to win again, so she just sort of abstained from ever running again. And I think that Jagex kind of respected her wishes, because, you know, as far as people voting on her, I think, you know, it would be very easy for people to vote on her. She's pretty much like a very iconic person in the community, art-wise especially. So I think that's kind of one thing on, because it's kind of weird that a person that fucking big would not win whatsoever. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Runefest. And again, sorry about the fucking rant about exclusive things, but it's something that really grinds my gears. It's something that really fucking annoys me about RuneScape 3. And yeah, I'll eventually make a RuneScape 3 leagues video, and I hope to soon release the engineering video. I'm aiming for this Wednesday, but given that some of my notes got a bit ruined because I just got really wet from rain. I tend to write, if you don't know, I write notes both on the computer, but also I write how I want them to appear on the video, and I write some stuff to be able to like more visually understand what I write. I just draw it on paper, right? And that got mega fucking ruined because of the rain. So I'm still aiming for this Wednesday, but I can't promise anything. But for sure, the video is like pretty much finished. The script is finished. I've been working on some of the art, which is actually way more fucking time consuming than I thought it was gonna be. But yeah, you know, just creating all of the little items and everything. But yeah, the engineering rework this Wednesday, and I don't know when I'm gonna release the next video, but some fucking day.